sky was burning. Bright fireballs tore through the clouds. Pieces of metal fell from above like rain. The air was loud with the sound of screaming engines, crashing ships, and the cries of dying men. On the ground, cities shook, buildings cracked, roads turned to dust, and still the humans fought. General Royce stood in the middle of a broken command post. His face was black with dirt and ash. His eyes were sharp, watching the screens as Earth's last fleets clashed with the alien invaders high above. "They're retreating," said Captain Elias. He limped toward the general, blood dripping from his arm. Royce didn't speak. On the screen, alien ships exploded one by one. Human fighters chased them like angry wasps. The battle was turning. Slowly, painfully, humans were winning. Another explosion lit up the sky. That was their flagship. Elias whispered. Royce nodded. "It's over," Elias said, falling into a chair. But Royce didn't relax. He stared at the wreckage. Something didn't feel right across the planet. People began to cheer. In London, crowds danced in the streets. In Tokyo, sirens turned into songs. In New York, a massive screen read, "We did it! Earth is safe!" The war had lasted 9 years. Millions were dead. Cities were gone. But now finally, there was peace, or so they thought. Back in the field, Royce walked through the battlefield. The alien ships had crashed in flames. Their bodies twisted silver, too smooth to be natural, lay in smoking heaps. Soldiers picked through the wreckage, collecting weapons, parts, and tech. Some laughed, some cried. Others stood in silence, unable to believe it was real. Royce bent down near a fallen alien pod. "The metal still glowed faintly, sir," a voice shouted. "We found something." A young soldier pointed at a device, half buried under rubble. It was small, round, blinking slowly. Royce picked it up. It felt too warm, too light. A strange symbol pulsed on its surface. He handed it to Tech Officer Juno. "Can you open it?" Juno nodded, already typing on her tablet. "It's a transmitter," she said, "still running." "Running?" Royce frowned. "After all this, it sent a signal. Just once. What kind of signal?" Juno turned her screen. 2 words. Glowed in red. "Initiate Phase 2. Royce's mouth went dry. He looked up at the sky. The fires were dying now, but above the clouds, stars were starting to return. One of them flickered. He stared at it, then it flickered again. Not a star, something else back at base. Royce called a secret meeting. 10 top officers sat in the dim room, silent and tired. Juno replayed the message. "Phase 2, one officer said slowly. "Does that mean this wasn't their full force?" "No," Royce said. "It means this was just the beginning." "Impossible. We fought them for years. That was their army, their best ships. We saw it." Royce's voice was calm but heavy. "What if we didn't? What if we only beat their test run?" Silence. No one spoke. Juno leaned forward. "The signal wasn't meant for us," she said. "It was sent outward, away from Earth, to deep space." Royce added, "And it was sent after we won." One officer slammed the table. "We can't let this get out." Royce nodded. "If the public hears we're still in danger, panic will explode. We need to know what's coming fast, but how?" Elias asked. Royce stood. "We go to the wreckage, find anything they left behind. Maps, coordinates, clues." The next day, Royce's team entered the largest alien ship that had crashed in the Himalayas. The structure was bent, broken, but still pulsing with weak energy. Lights flickered on alien walls. The halls were filled with smoke and strange clicking. Sounds like machines trying to breathe. Juno scanned the walls. "These aren't just walls," she said. "They're memory storage." Royce touched one. A ripple spread across the surface. A soft hum began. Then a voice spoke, but not in English. It was smooth, low, cold. Juno's translator kicked in. Phase 1, response successful. Human defense adequate. Begin Phase 2 deployment. Royce's heart pounded. It continued. Send prime units. Earth resistance at level 3. Testing complete. Show true power. What are prime units? Elias asked. Juno's eyes widened. If these weren't prime, then the real army is still out there. A pause, coming now. Above Earth, the sky was quiet again. But far, far beyond the moon, something stirred in the black cold between stars. Hundreds of dark ships moved slowly, silently. Toward the sun, their lights were red, their symbols glowed like blood, and deep. Inside the lead ship, a voice spoke in the alien tongue. "Let's see what they do against us." Royce sat alone in his quarters that night. He held the transmitter in his hand. It blinked once, then again Phase 2 had started, and Earth had no idea what was coming. The wreckage was cold now. Smoke had cleared. Fires were out. But something still felt wrong in the air. General Royce stood near the edge of the alien crash site. A soft wind moved the dust. The broken alien ship lay like a giant beast, dead but not silent. Royce stared at the blinking transmitter in his hand. "Still blinking," he muttered. Captain Elias stood beside him, arms crossed. "It's been 2 days. That thing should have died." "It's not a thing," Royce said. "It's a message. And it's not for us." Elias frowned. "You think someone's listening?" Royce didn't answer. He walked away, clutching the device tightly. Back at Command Base 9, the air was heavy. Inside the war room, only whispers were allowed now. All screens were off, except one. It showed. The signal, the message, was clear. "Initiate Phase 2." Juno leaned over her tablet. Her fingers moved fast, running scans on the signal's path. "It's not a local broadcast," she said. "It wasn't meant to call help from Earth." "Then where's it going?" Royce asked. Juno pointed to the screen. "Outward, deep space, very far." "It used a Starlink. That's alien tech. Our systems barely understand it." Royce looked closer. "Can you trace it?" "I'm trying," she said, "but it's moving. The signal's bouncing between points like a chain." Elias asked. "Yes, a chain of relays, spread far. Beyond our system, this thing is calling something big." That night, the base lost contact with Satellite 6, then Satellite 7. Within 2 hours, all outer solar satellites went silent. Royce stood before the COM station. "Status." "Sir, it's not a malfunction," the technician said. "Something is jamming them, or destroying them." Juno's face turned pale. "They're cutting off our eyes." Royce called an emergency meeting with Earth's top military leaders. Only 6 arrived in person. The rest joined by secured links. Some were in bunkers, others deep in space stations. Royce stood at the front. "We won a battle," he said, "not the war." He explained the signal, the translation, and the lost satellites. This wasn't their real army. It was a test. And now, the real force is coming. One general from Europe spoke first. "How do we know this isn't a trick? Maybe the device is broken." Royce shook his head. "We translated their data. Their records say it clearly. We were Phase 1, an admiral from Asia." Leaned forward. "What's Phase 2? No one answered. But Juno stepped up. "I found a match," she said. "In one of their data files, a star pattern. It leads to a point beyond Pluto. Something's moving there." "How big?" Royce asked. Juno swallowed hard. "I don't know, but it's huge." The council wanted silence. No press. They ordered no warnings. People will panic. Royce disagreed. They deserve to know. But the president overruled him. "We need time to understand this first." So, Earth stayed quiet. People still celebrated. Cities still sang. But in the shadows, the defense forces worked fast. Royce returned to the field. He walked through another wrecked alien ship. This one had strange walls, smooth, glowing with unreadable symbols. Juno followed close behind, scanning the surfaces. "Here," she said. "A map." Royce leaned in. The wall showed stars. Hundreds of them. Most were unknown, but one was marked red. The red symbol pulsed slowly. "What is that?" Elias asked. Juno whispered, The source of what?" "The command. That's where the signal leads." "Where the real army is?" Royce asked. She nodded. Royce looked out at the sky that night. He felt cold, even under the warm lights. "Did we wake them up?" Elias asked, standing beside him. Royce shook his head. "No, I think they were always watching." 2 days later, a new satellite was launched fast, quiet, cloaked. Its mission scanned the dark zone beyond Pluto. Hours passed, then it sent one image, Juno, opened it on the main screen. Everyone in the command room went silent. The image showed something massive. It looked like a wall of metal, and fire-shaped like a claw, moving slowly through the stars. Royce stepped forward. "That's not a ship," he said. Juno nodded. "It's a fleet." More images followed, hundreds of ships, all bigger than anything humans had ever seen. Their designs were different, darker, sharper, more advanced. The wrecked ones on Earth looked like toys compared to these. "They weren't sending their best," Elias said. "They were testing us, and we passed," Royce replied. "Or failed," Juno added softly. "They're coming now for real." Panic began in the top levels of government. Secret plans were made. Space stations were told to go dark. Defense satellites were activated, but time was short. The enemy was already on the move. Royce stood in front of the global war board. "We can't wait," he said. "We strike first." The council hesitated. That could provoke them, someone warned. Royce's voice was sharp. "They're already coming! What more can we provoke?" Juno stepped beside him. "There may be another way." She opened a new file. A secret Earth. Project Phoenix. A weapon. Unfinished. Dangerous. "Still in testing. What does it do?" Elias asked. Juno looked at the glowing schematics. "It changes gravity, warps energy. It can create a shockwave big enough to destroy a fleet or maybe a planet." Royce stared at it. "How long until it's ready?" 3 weeks, she said. "If we push." Royce turned to the council. "Then we push." That night, Royce watched the stars. One star blinked, then another. He could feel it now, deep in his bones. The real war hadn't started yet, but it was coming fast. The stars were not stars. They looked like tiny lights, cold and far. But something was wrong. They blinked at the same time. They moved together. Royce stood on the rooftop of Base 9, staring into the night sky. One star shifted again. "Is it them?" Elias asked beside him. Royce didn't answer. He already knew, inside the base. Alarms stayed off. The public still believed the war was over. But inside command rooms, across the planet, screens showed new images, blurry, silent, terrifying. Of them were entering the edge of the solar system, too far for clear scans, too close to ignore. "They're positioning themselves," Juno said, pointing to a rotating 3D map. "Not charging in." "Waiting for what?" Elias asked. Royce stepped closer for us to panic. Every hour, new signals appeared. Strange pulses, deep, vibrating waves. They weren't messages, they were warnings. One wave shut down 5 Earth satellites in a second. Another made Mars base to lose contact for 10 minutes. And then came the sound. A hum, low, steady, unnatural. Picked up by every listening station on Earth. It came from the far side of Neptune. Juno recorded it, played it once. Everyone in the room went still. The hum wasn't random. It had a pattern. A voice that whispered in alien language, "We see you. We are near. Wait." Royce met with the Space Command Council the next morning. He didn't wait for permission. "We send a scout," he said. Now, silence followed. Finally, a voice replied, "What do you expect to find?" Royce's voice was calm. "Truth, 2." Hours later, the fastest human scout ship launched into orbit. It was quiet, fast, unarmed. Its name was Ghost Arrow. Inside were 5 crew members and 1 AI. Their mission reached the edge of the system near the alien shapes. Get images, get data, and come back, if they could. For days passed. No word from Ghost Arrow. Then in the 5th day a signal came. Weak, shaky. Royce, Juno, and Elias gathered in the control room as the images loaded. Blurry shapes moved across the screen. Juno enhanced them. Gasps filled the room. Alien ships, hundreds, black as coal, covered in red lights. No windows, no symbols, no signs of life, just silent giants floating in formation. "They look like they're sleeping," Elias said. "They're waiting," Juno whispered. Then the screen blinked. A new image appeared, close up. It showed something different. A larger ship, almost like a floating fortress, and on its side, deep into its hull, was a symbol, a circle, with 4 claws reaching inward. Royce leaned in. "I've seen that," he said. "In the wreckage." "On the command core, then? This is a command ship," Juno said. "The leader?" Suddenly, the signal from Ghost Arrow changed. Static filled the screen. Then a voice, alien, deep, mechanical. And then it spoke in English. You should not have come. The signal cut. Ghost Arrow was gone. Earth's defense leaders met again. Panic. This time, loud voices, angry faces. We need to strike first. No, evacuate the outer colonies. Can we trust the signal? Was that even a ship? Royce slammed his hand on the table. Listen to me. The room went quiet. He pointed at the last image. We are facing a force we don't understand. If we attack now, we lose. Juno added, we need more data. We need time. We need to activate Project Phoenix. A general scoffed. That thing could destroy us if it fails. Royce didn't blink. If we don't use it, we're already dead. 3 hours later, met with the president in a secure bunker. She listened in silence as he explained everything. When he finished, she stood. Do what you must, but you have one chance, one shot. Make it count. Royce nodded, then turned to leave. That night, Elias came to Royce's quarters. Something's still bothering me, he said. What? Elias frowned. Why are they waiting? Royce looked out the small window at the black sky because they want us to see them first. Why? To make us afraid. The next morning, a new image appeared on Earth's deep space sensors. It was the moon. Something was there. Juno zoomed in. It was small, a black cube, not human. Did they land it there? Elias asked. Not landed, Juno said. It grew there. Royce stared at the cube. Or it was already here. Elite scout teams were sent to investigate the dark side of the moon. They found nothing, just dust and rock, but under the dust, one device remained, buried, alien metal. Still active. Royce flew to the site himself. His boots touched the gray ground. Silence surrounded him. He walked to the device. It blinked once. A message played through his comms. You think we come? Now, but we were always here. Royce froze. The voice continued. This is not the beginning. This is the end of your trial. Then silence. He stood still for a long time above him. The black sky stretched wide. The stars no longer looked like stars. They looked like eyes, watching, waiting back on Earth. Royce stood in the war room. The screen showed the cube again. Phase 2 didn't start in space, he said. It started here. And the real invasion hadn't even begun. The command room was dark. Only one screen stayed on. It showed the alien cube on the moon's dark side, still blinking, still silent. Royce stared at it. Have we touched it? He asked. Juno nodded carefully. No change. Elias leaned in. What is it? Juno hesitated. It's not just a beacon, she said. It's a door. 12 hours earlier, the special team sent to examine the cube had opened a hatch. Inside, there was no machine, no wires, only a smooth black room, and in the center, a floating sphere. Alive, it pulsed when humans came near. When touched, it whispered, Royce listened to the recording again. A slow, deep voice. You are not ready for what comes next. He shut the recording off. In orbit. A military research ship hovered above the moon. Scientists scanned the object. Engineers begged to take it apart. Royce refused. No more poking the unknown, he said. We wait. But the cube didn't. Wait, it opened again. A bright red light shot upward into space, straight toward the alien fleet in Base 9. Panic spread. What was that? Elias shouted. A signal, Juno said. Some kind of alert. To what? To them. Hours later, Earth's deep space radar lit up. The alien fleet was moving. Not slowly anymore, fast, straight, toward the moon. The president called Royce directly. Her voice was calm but tight. What do they want? Royce stared at the screen. They're coming to check their toy. Juno worked without sleep. She pored over alien files taken from the wreckage back in the Himalayas. She found something strange. A classification chart, symbols, sizes, shapes. Each alien unit was labeled. Drone, soldier, heavy, commander, but one symbol stood alone. A single dot, surrounded by 4 curved lines. The same symbol found on the cube, Juno whispered. This isn't just a door, it's a marker. She stood in Royce's office, trembling. They left it here long ago, before the war even started. Elias raised his eyebrows. A marker for what? Territory, Juno said. Earth. Royce clenched his jaw. "We've been theirs from the beginning." The alien fleet arrived within range of Earth's orbital defenses. No, weapons fired, not yet, but they made no effort to hide. One massive ship darker than night, shaped like a crescent, moved toward the moon. Royce watched from the space station. "It's a command vessel," Juno said. "They're here for the marker." A screen flickered to life. No human turned it on. A voice filled the station. No image, just sound. A voice like ice and thunder. It spoke English. "You survived the trial. You destroyed our scout army. We are impressed." Royce stepped forward. "Who are you?" the voice replied. "We are the first. We are the last. We are the reason you exist." Elias frowned. "What does that mean?" The voice answered. "You were born in our garden, raised in our shadow. Now your season ends." Suddenly, a new signal appeared. Earth's defense system flagged it as a weapon charge. Juno screamed. "They're powering something." Royce grabbed the comms. "We didn't attack you. You came to us." The voice didn't stop. "We did not come to destroy you. We came to measure you, and know, ... to judge." A low hum echoed through space. From the command ship, a beam of red light shot toward the cube on the moon. The cube glowed, then cracked, exploded silently. No fire, no heat, just gone. Vanished. All human systems near the moon shut down at once. Royce's station shook. He braced himself. "What was that?" Juno's voice cracked. "They didn't need it anymore. The test is complete." The screen flickered. Again, this Time-Man image, an alien, not like the dead ones from the first war. This one had no eyes. Its skin was pale silver, smooth like stone. It didn't speak with its mouth. It spoke into their minds all at once. "We sent shadows. You fought well, but we have not yet stepped forward." Royce couldn't believe it. What we fought? That wasn't even there. Real army. The alien tilted its head. "No, those were echoes, machines made for sport. Now we arrive in truth." The screen blinked out. No trace of the signal remained. Juno looked pale. "They were playing with us." Royce's voice was low. "And now the game ends." Within an hour, every military satellite detected movement. More ships, so many they couldn't be counted. Emerging from beyond Saturn, not heading to Earth, but surrounding it. Slowly, silently, a trap. Royce met with the president again. She asked one question. "Is there any hope?" He nodded once. "There's still Project Phoenix." She closed her eyes. "Then prepare it." At the secret underground site, the weapon began to power up. Energy levels rose. Juno oversaw the core with trembling hands. "This could save us," Elias said. "Or kill us all," she replied. Royce didn't flinch. "Then we use it right." Above Earth, the stars were hidden now, blocked by shadows. The real enemy had arrived, and this time, they weren't here to test. They were here to conquer. Every screen on Earth changed. Phones, TVs, radios, billboards, a black background, a single countdown timer, 6. Ticking down, Royce watched it from the command center. The number didn't stop, didn't glitch, didn't slow. Elias whispered, "It's from them, isn't it?" Royce nodded. "Yes." All over the world, people stopped celebrating. The truth had leaked. The news channels tried to explain it. Scientists gave warnings. The military said they had a plan. But everyone saw the timer. They knew the real war had begun. On the streets, crowds formed. Some prayed, some screamed, others packed and ran. Where to? No one knew. In secret bunkers, world leaders met again. Some wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to hide. But Roy stood up and spoke clearly. They don't want peace. He played the alien message again. "You survived the trial. Now we judge." They're not offering a deal. They're promising destruction. The president looked at him, then stopped them. Project Phoenix was Earth's last hope. It was a weapon built from pieces of alien tech, human science, and desperation, buried deep beneath the surface, so secret. Only 5 people on Earth knew all of it. Now it was active. Royce walked through the long steel tunnel leading to the main chamber. The air buzzed with power, machines, HUMMED. At the center stood the Phoenix Corround, glowing blue, pulsing like a heart dot. Juno stood beside it. "This thing isn't finished," she warned. "It has never been tested." Royce stared at it. Now it will be. The plan was dangerous. They would launch the core into deep space, plant it in the middle of the incoming alien fleet, and then detonate it. The blast would send a wave strong enough to warp space itself. It could wipe the fleet out or tear the solar system apart. Elia said what everyone feared. "If this thing fails, we die." Royce looked him in the eye. "If we don't use it, we die anyway." The timer hit 5 days. Alien ships moved closer. Saturn disappeared from view, swallowed by the dark shapes. Civilians were moved underground. Military forces armed every satellite. And station? Earth's orbit filled with human ships, ready to fight, even if it was hopeless. On day 4, a strange thing happened. The countdown paused just for 1 minute. Then a message appeared. A voice top familiar. The same alien who spoke before do. Not run. Do not beg. Do not hide. We see all. You are not alone in this sky. Then silence. The timer resumed. Juno stared at the message. What did that mean? She asked. Royce turned to her. Maybe it means someone else is out there. Another race. Maybe another enemy. Or maybe an ally, Elias added. Royce didn't answer. Day 3, the Phoenix launch ship was completed. It was small, fast, and unmanned. Built only for one task, carried the core into the heart of the enemy fleet. Once inside, a signal from Earth would activate the core. One chance. One shot. Royce stood in the hangar as the ship was prepared. His hand touched the cold steel. He whispered, "Don't miss." At the same moment, deep in space, the alien ships began changing formation from a wall to a ring. They were building something. Juno's scanners picked it up. A structure. To attack, they're going to trap us. She pressed the button. All over Earth. New screens turned on. Royce's face appeared. He spoke calmly, slowly, clearly. We have one chance. He explained the Phoenix mission, told the truth, didn't hide the danger, didn't promise safety. He ended with one sentence. We will not go quietly. The timer ticked past 2 days. The launch team gathered at dawn. The hangar opened. Phoenix. Order. Launch. The engines roared. The ship shot upward like a spear, straight into the darkness. Silence followed. Royce closed his eyes. Now we wait. In deep space, the ship moved fast, dodging debris, avoiding enemy scans. The aliens didn't react. Not yet. They watched. They waited. They let it come. Back on Earth, the timer showed 1 day then, 23 hours. Juno's screen blinked. The Phoenix ship had entered the alien ring. Elias shouted, "They see it." On the radar, several alien ships began to move, not away, toward it. Royce leaned over the radio. Now detonate. Juno hesitated. It's not fully in the center. Juno pressed the button. The signal was sent. A pause. A second passed. Then the screen turned white. A wave exploded through space, faster than light. Alien ships tore apart. The ring shattered. Energy rippled across the stars. It reached Saturn. Then Jupiter. Then Mars. And stopped. Earth shook but did not break. The wave had worked. But Royce wasn't smiling. He stared at the screen anew. Signal was appearing not from the wreckage, not from the ring, but from beyond. Beyond the fleet, beyond the stars. Something. Fleet Royce didn't speak. He watched as new symbols appeared on the screen. New shapes, new shadows. And one final message that was only our vanguard. Now the true war begins. The Earth was quiet, not peaceful, just stunned. The Phoenix weapon had worked. Half the alien fleet was gone. The ring around Earth had been destroyed. For a moment, it looked like victory, but the silence that followed felt wrong. To cold. Royce stood in the war room, staring at the screen. New symbols were flashing, new signals, new shapes. Juno zoomed in. These ships are different, she said. They're bigger, faster, sharper. Elias frowned. Did they hide the real fleet? Juno nodded. Yes. Royce turned to the team. Then that wasn't their main force. That was just their front line. The truth sank in. The battle they thought was over had just been the beginning. Juno sat at her station, scanning the wave data. Something up, she said. It came just seconds after the Phoenix detonation. Royce moved closer. "What is it?" A response, Juno said. "A signal from beyond our system." Royce's eyes narrowed. "Who sent it?" Juno looked at him. "I don't think it was them." The room fell silent. "If it wasn't the enemy," Elias asked, "then who?" Juno pulled up the signal. It was short, a pulse dot, then a word, dot, one word, dot, in perfect English. "Observe." "No one spoke," Royce whispered. "Someone else is watching this war," Juno replied, "and they're not the same as the aliens." Elias stepped back. "We're caught in someone else's game." Royce stared at the stars. "Maybe we've been in it all along." The next day, satellites picked up massive movement from deep space, not from the original. Alien fleet? From far beyond that, another wave was coming. Ships that didn't match any data Earth had. "Who are they?" Elias asked. Juno answered quietly, "We don't know." On Earth, people had begun to hope again. The destruction of the first wave made them cheer. For one night, the cities lit up again. But hope didn't last, because the countdown started again. This time, there was no voice, no message, just a new timer to 3 days. Royce met with the president. "They're sending the real fleet now," he said. She asked, "And Project Phoenix?" Royce shook his head. "We can't use it again. It burned out. What do we have left?" "Time," Royce replied, "and an idea." He flew to the underground Phoenix facility. The blast had damaged it, but part of the core remained. Juno met him at the entrance. "It's unstable," she warned. "I don't want to detonate it," Royce said. "Want to change it?" They went deep underground. The core glowed faintly. Its blue light flickered like a dying fire. Royce turned to Juno. "Can we turn it into a shield?" Juno blinked. "A shield. If we can't destroy the next wave," he said, "maybe we can block it." She stared at the machine. "It would take everything we have. Power, focus, control, and it still might explode." Royce nodded. "Then let's do it." Teams across the planet were called scientists, engineers, hackers, physicists. They worked day and night, side by side, wiring, testing, rewriting code, building something new out of something broken. They called it the Dome, a global defense field, powered by the remains of Phoenix. If it worked, Earth would be wrapped in energy, nothing in, nothing out. If it failed, the core would collapse and take the planet with it. Day 2, the new alien fleet entered the solar system. It was vast, more than 10,000 ships, some the size of cities, others alive, breathing, moving, like creatures, not machines. Juno stared at the scans. "They're not just technology," she said. "They're hybrids. Part machine," Elias said, "part something else." Day 1, the dome was almost ready. Cables ran across oceans. Satellites were adjusted. Power stations glowed. Royce stood in the main chamber. Watching the pulse, Juno approached. "It's ready." Royce looked at her. "What happens if it doesn't hold?" Juno didn't smile. "Then we go dark." That night, Royce stood outside. He looked up. The stars were gone. Not from clouds, but from shadows. The real enemy had arrived. Midnight, the final. Timer ticked down. 0:00, 100:00. Nothing happened. No explosion, no beam, no sound, just silence, then the Earth. Shook. Skies lit up. Alien ships dropped from orbit like thunder. But before they reached the ground, the dome activated. A blinding flash, a sound, like breaking glass, and Earth vanished, not destroyed, but hidden, inside a shimmering blue shell. The alien ships crashed into the dome, bounced off, exploded. Others circled it, testing it, searching for cracks. But the dome held inside. The planet was still alive, safe. For now, Juno ran diagnostics. "We're sealed." Elias watched the screen. "But for how long?" Royce answered, "As long as we need, but far above the dome." Beyond the alien fleet, another presence stirred, watching, waiting. The one who had whispered, "Observe," and now it whispered again. Only 2 words, they adapt. The dome shimmered like glass under sunlight. A perfect shield. It covered the entire planet sky to ground, pole to pole. For the first time in weeks, Earth was quiet. No attacks, no bombs, No bombs, just silence. But silence was never safe. Inside Base 9, Juno stared at her screen. The shield's energy levels were steady. The alien fleet hovered above, motionless. Elias stepped in, rubbing his eyes. "They've stopped attacking," he said. "For now," Juno replied. "They're watching us." Royce entered the room. "They're learning." A soft alarm beeped. A new scan appeared on the screen. Juno frowned. "That's not a ship." Elias moved closer. "What is it?" She zoomed in. A shape, organic, moving slowly toward the dome. Royce narrowed his eyes. "Alive." "Yes," Juno whispered. "And it's huge." The creature reached the edge of the dome. It didn't attack. It pressed its long, thin body against the energy field. It touched it. The dome held firm. At first, then something happened. The energy rippled, not from pressure, but from understanding. "It's scanning the dome," Juno said. "It's reading us." Royce stepped forward. "Shut down any data feedback. Don't let it learn." Juno typed fast, but it was too late. The creature pulled back. It floated upward and vanished. 10 minutes later, a ship broke off from the alien fleet. It moved toward the dome, fast. Juno's screen lit up red. "Warning, energy spike." The ship released a pulse just like the Phoenix. Shockwave dot, but reversed, not to destroy, to test. The dome flickered. Not cracked, not broken, but it felt it. "They're probing it now," Elias said. "Looking for weak spots," Royce added. "They're adapting." For hours, new attacks came. Small waves, controlled strikes, fast changes, each one different, each one smarter. "They're learning our frequency," Juno said. "If they match it, they'll walk right through." Royce made a decision. "We changed the pattern." "How often?" Royce didn't blink. Every 30 seconds, the dome became unstable energy. Levels spiked, the system groaned under the constant shifts, but it worked. The aliens couldn't match. Not yet. Day turned to night in the sky. Alien ships floated like silent sharks, and then something new appeared. A beam, thin, bright blue. Directed at one point on the dome, Royce turned to Juno. "What is that?" Her voice shook. "They're trying to cut through." Elias stepped forward. "That beam's not from this fleet." Juno zoomed in. "It's coming from beyond them. From a bigger ship." Royce stared at the screen. "Something else is out there." Suddenly, power flickered across Base 9. Lights dimmed. The dome wavered. "What's happening?" Elias asked. Juno looked terrified. "They've triggered a chain reaction inside the shield. It's destabilizing." Royce turned to his team. "We hold the line." Juno typed faster than ever. "Rerouting power, restoring core sync." Sweat dripped down her face. The dome steadied again, but the beam didn't stop. And then came the voice, the one from before. Cold, deep, inside their minds. "You cannot hide forever. We become what you defend." Juno turned pale. "They're changing." Elias frowned. "What do you mean?" She pointed to the scan. "They're new ships. They look like us." Royce stepped forward. "They're copying human designs." "Yes," Juno said. "Same size, same shape, same weapons, but stronger, faster, better." The enemy had learned the longer the dome held, the smarter the invaders became. Royce looked at the ceiling. "They're becoming us to destroy us." He met with the president via secure line. "We can't stay behind this shield forever," he said. The president looked tired. "So what do we do?" Royce answered calmly. "We strike again." They began building Phoenix, too. A shield, a hybrid, a fusion of human tech and stolen alien designs, built from fragments of fallen ships and leftover Phoenix parts. A prototype, a risk, but maybe the only way forward. Juno was in charge of the build. Elias organized the crews. Royce approved every detail. They called it the Spear. It would launch from space, cut through the enemy's ranks, deliver one powerful payload, and send a signal not just to destroy, but to warn, because something bigger was coming. Juno had found a symbol, one hidden deep in the alien signal. Data. It wasn't from the fleet. It wasn't from the cube. It wasn't even from the same species. It was from someone above them, a higher power, a ruler. Royce asked the question. Everyone feared, if these aren't the top, then what is? The screen flashed. New signal detected, multiple layers, encrypted, translated, Translated, 1. Phrase repeated, you passed their test, now you face us. The alien fleet pulled back slightly, not retreating, making room. The stars shifted, black shapes moved behind the current. Invaders, larger, darker, slower, Juno whispered. They were just the first layer. Elias stared in shock. How many layers are there? Royce closed his eyes, took a breath, then opened them again. Enough, he said. Time to break the cycle. The spear was finished. Its engine hummed. Its payload glowed inside. The code was ready, a frequency, not to destroy, but to call attention. To shout into the stars, we see you. We're still here. They launched it at dawn. It flew fast, silent, straight, into the heart of the alien sky. And then, it vanished. No explosion, no response, just gone. Everyone stared at the blank screen. Did it fail? Did it work? No one knew. Alien ship stopped moving. Every screen turned black, and a new voice spoke. Not cold, not loud, but calm and curious. What are you? The voice echoed everywhere, not through speakers, not from the sky. It came from inside. People's minds soft.com, but impossible to ignore. What are you? In Base 9, Royce stood frozen. The war room was silent. No one moved, no one spoke. The screens were blank, but they all heard it. Juno gripped the edge of her desk. That wasn't them, she whispered. Elias nodded slowly. That voice, it's different. Royce turned to Juno. Trace it. I can't, she said. It's not a signal. It's everywhere. Royce clenched his fists. Then we got their attention. The spear had worked, but not like they expected. It didn't destroy the alien fleet. It didn't damage the motherships. It had spoken, and someone had answered. The alien ships remained. Still, even the large, terrifying ones, motionless, silent, as if they too were listening, as if they were waiting. The voice came again. You are not like the others. You are broken, scattered, wild, and yet you create. Elias looked confused. Are they talking to us? Yes, Royce said, and not just us, all of humanity. Juno's screen flashed again. A new image appeared, a strange shape, not a ship, not a weapon. It looked like a swirl of stars alive, breathing, enormous, moving from deep space, coming slowly, but directly, toward Earth. Royce stared at it. Is that the one speaking? Juno zoomed in. I don't think that's a ship. Then what is it? She hesitated. A being? More signals came, not words, memories, memories, images, the first tools, a spark of fire, the building of cities, the sound of music, children laughing, a soldier dying, a mother crying, flashes of humanity. The being was watching it all. Then the voice spoke again. You have survived the trial. You are not obedient. You are not efficient. You are dangerous. Inside the dome, lights flickered, not from power loss, from pressure. The being was near. Too big for sensors to measure. Too ancient for understanding, Royce whispered. They weren't testing us for fun. They were measuring our threat. Juno's voice cracked. They're deciding if we should exist. Elias looked at her. And what if they say no? No one answered. On Earth. Panic returned. The countdowns were gone, but fear was stronger than ever. People prayed. People rioted. Others stood in silence, watching the sky, waiting for judgment in orbit. The alien fleet shifted, not attacking, not defending, Dutch moving away, clearing space, making room. Juno gasped. They're surrendering control. Royce looked at her sharply. Who? She pointed at the screen. To that. The massive being crossed Neptune's orbit. It didn't fly. It flowed a river of stars, and thought it had no weapons, but it didn't need them. It was power itself. Then the dome began to crack, not from attack, from pressure, from curiosity. The being was peering in, through the shield, through matter, into minds. The voice returned. You fight, you burn, you destroy. But also, you dream. You love, you sacrifice. Why? Royce walked to the center of the war room. He stared at the sky. He spoke aloud. Because we have something to protect. The being didn't reply. For a long moment, there was silence. Then, show me. Royce turned to Juno. Open the archives. She hesitated. What part? All of it, he said. Let them see everything. Juno tapped into Earth's global network. History, music, art, pain, laughter, war, peace. Every piece of humanity uploaded into the stream. They sent it all. The stars dimmed, then brightened, then pulsed. The being was watching, learning, and then it responded, not in voice, in feeling. A wave of warmth. .com.light. Elias wiped his eyes. Is that approval? Juno nodded. I think it is. But the moment faded, the light dimmed again, the warmth cooled, and the voice returned one last time. You are not ready, but you are. Becoming, we will return, grow, or end. And just like that, the presence vanished, not through space, but through reality, like it had never been here at all. The alien fleet followed it. One by one, the ships turned away. Silent, obedient, afraid, and then they were gone. The stars returned. The sky was clear. The dome shimmered once more, then deactivated. Earth was open again. A live Royce stood outside. He looked up. Did we win? Elias asked behind him. Royce didn't answer at first. Then he said, We survived. Juno stepped beside him. But they'll be back. Yes, Royce said. And next time, we need to be more than survivors. Across the world, people stepped outside. The war was over, but something deeper had begun. A challenge, a warning, a chance. Not from enemies who wanted to destroy, but from something greater, something watching, something waiting. And one day, they would ask again, What are you? The war was over. But Earth didn't cheer. No music, no parties, no victory speeches. Only quiet and questions. Royce stood before the United Earth Council. All eyes were on him. No one smiled. He spoke carefully. We didn't win. We were spared. The room fell silent. Juno sat beside him, pale and tired. Elias watched from the corner, arms folded, silent as ever. The council president leaned forward. What now? Royce looked at her. We rebuild. But rebuilding wasn't easy. The cities were still there. The skies were blue again. But something had changed. People didn't look at the stars with wonder anymore. They looked with fear. Wonder had become a weapon. Juno was in her lab again, studying the remnants of the spear signal. She ran it over and over. The pulse, the translation, the voice, and the final message. You are not ready, she whispered. What do we need to be ready for? Elias appeared in the doorway. They'll come back. She nodded, but maybe not just them. He tilted his head. What do you mean? She pointed at the screen. There was something hidden in the signal. Royce joined them as she pulled it up. The screen flashed a faint image, a new symbol, not the same as the aliens, not the same as the being of light. Older, sharper, angrier. Royce stared at it. That's not from the ones who spared us. Juno nodded. Double quotes, no, it's from someone else. Suddenly, a small satellite in deep orbit sent a warning. An unknown object was moving near. Pluto. Fast. But not toward Earth. It was going around, sliding past the system, sending a signal. The team listened. To it, crackling, twisting. Then a voice. Not like before, this one was. Hollow. Dry, cold, failed candidates. Confirmed. Phase 2, abandoned. Data archived. Royce leaned in. Who is that? Juno's hands trembled. The ones who sent them. The true watchers, the architects. Elias frowned. I thought we passed their test. No, Juno whispered. We passed one test, but not theirs. The world had been part of something bigger, a grand system, a galaxy-sized experiment. A long chain of civilizations tested, judged, and erased. Earth had survived the first visitors, but it had not impressed the overseers. Royce stepped out of the lab. He looked at the sky. A message blinked on his private device. It came from deep within the Earth's core vaults. A single sentence. Initiate ARC protocol. Royce met with the president again. She looked older, tired, scared. He told her everything. She didn't hesitate. Do it. ARC protocol had been buried for decades. A plan for the worst-case scenario if Earth ever became a target again. If the stars ever turned hostile, it was not a weapon, it was a lifeboat. Deep underground, machines, HUMME, hundreds of ships, each hidden beneath cities, deserts, oceans. Now active, now rising. Juno watched one lift from an icy lake in Siberia. Elias saw another emerge from a canyon. Royce stood as his own, rose from the mountain behind base 9. Each ship carried supplies, records, DNA, artificial minds, and hope. The world was no longer a battlefield, it was now a seed vault, and the stars. A storm, Elias asked Royce that night. Are we running? Royce shook his head. No, we're preparing. A week passed, then another. The skies remained clear, no voices, no shadows, only silence, but no one trusted silence anymore. Then Juno called Royce urgently. There's something new, she said. He rushed to the lab. On the screen was a strange shape, not a ship, not a signal, a ripple, like space itself was. Bruised, torn, wounded, double quotes. What caused that? Royce asked. Juno looked frightened. Not them, something else. Elias stepped in. What now? Juno zoomed in. There's something coming. But not a fleet, not a message, a hole. Tear in space. Royce stared. That's not a traveler, that's a door. Another satellite pinged. Another signal came. No voice, just a file. One image of Earth, burned, cracked, lifeless, stamped with the symbol of the overseers. Juno looked up. They sent it as a warning. Royce shook his head. No, they sent it as a promise. That night, Royce made the hardest choice of his life. He sent a global broadcast, short, calm, /firm. We are not alone. We were never alone, and we have been marked. He activated the ARC protocol fully. Cities were sealed. Vaults closed, ships powered up. Earth was not being evacuated. It was being preserved. Humanity would fight, if needed. But first they would hide their future in the stars, scatter their seeds across the void in case the next visit was not a test, but an execution. Elias stood in the hangar. Looking at the ARC ship, he touched its smooth side. Do you think we'll ever come back? Royce stood beside him. Someday, if we survive what's coming. Juno stepped in, holding the new scans. They've torn space before? Royce asked. Where? She looked down. Everywhere. The war was over. But the trial had just begun, and far away. Beyond the galaxies, the true eyes of the universe were now watching, silently, patiently, waiting to judge what humanity would become. Darkness filled the sky once more. Not from ships, not from weapons, but from silence. A silence that felt heavy, like something unseen was breathing just beyond the stars. Watching, Royce stood on the platform of ARC-1. The launch countdown had begun. Behind him, thousands of people waited inside the ship. Men, women, children, scientists, farmers, soldiers. The last hope of Earth. He looked back at the mountains, at the land he had fought to protect. He didn't feel pride, he felt responsibility. Juno joined him. She held a small glowing device, the core of the spear's signal. It's still pulsing, she said. Royce looked at it. What does that mean? She whispered. They're still listening. Elias appeared next, helmet under his arm. He smiled. Faintly, you ever think we'd get this far? Royce shook his head. No, not like this. The final message from the overseers had been clear. Prepare, no time, no numbers, no warning, just that one word. And now space itself was cracking, ripping open slowly, like something massive. It was unfolding behind a veil, something ancient, something final, across the globe. ARC ships, powered up. 20 in total, each with a different path. Some headed toward known systems, others toward mystery. Each ship carried data, frozen cells, memories. Each ship carried a piece of Earth. Royce stepped into the command center. The president appeared on the screen. Her voice was steady. You are now the voice of our future. Royce bowed his head. I'll speak carefully. Outside, crowds gathered to watch the launches. Not everyone was leaving. Most would stay to defend, to wait, to keep Earth alive if possible, or to buy time if not at 0 hour, the ARC countdown. Began. All systems, green. Launches synchronized. Royce spoke over the channel. Wherever we go, we carry the story of humanity. We are not perfect, but we are not finished. Let the stars remember that we tried. Engines roared. Towers shook. Flames lit the sky. One by one, the Ark ships rose, breaking through clouds, through orbit. Into the dark. From space, Earth looked calm. Blue oceans. White clouds. Green lands. No one would guess it had almost died inside Ark 1. The lights dimmed. People sat quietly strapped in. Juno monitored the scanners. Elias took the co-pilot's seat. Royce stood in silence. Then he said, "Course." Juno replied, "System Epsilon B7. Habitable, far, quiet." Royce nodded. "Let's find home." Hours passed. The ship floated farther from Earth. No sign of pursuit, no warning, only stars, and the quiet hum of the engines. Then the pulse stopped. The signal from the spear's core faded. Gone. Juno stared at it. "They've turned away," Elias asked. "Does that mean we passed?" Royce didn't answer. He looked into the darkness and saw something new. A shimmer, faint, far, but growing. Another tier in space, just like before, but not behind them. Ahead, Juno gasped. "It's opening again." Elias grabbed the controls. "Do we turn?" Roy stood still. "No, we face it." The tier grew larger. Stars bent around it, color twisted, like a wound in the universe itself. And then a shape emerged. Not metal, not flesh, not a ship, a presence. Light and shadow mixed, and it spoke, not with sound, but with emotion, understanding, and one word. Royce's heart pounded. He stared at the light. "Why us?" The answer came softly. "Because you wonder, because you fear, and still move forward." The light flickered, then pulled back. The tier began to close, and just before it vanished, left behind something, a map. Not of planets, not of stars, but of paths, a guide to something greater. Juno stared at the screen. "What is it?" Royce smiled faintly. "An invitation?" Far behind them, Earth remained, still spinning, still fragile, but no longer alone. Its people had stepped forward, not as warriors, but as wanderers, somewhere out there. The watchers waited, the enemies watched, the stars whispered, and in the silence the voice of humanity had been heard. Royce sat in the captain's chair. He took a breath, gave the order, "Engage." The ship moved forward, through the dark, toward the unknown, toward something bigger than war, bigger than survival, a future, not promised, not guaranteed, but possible. And so humanity began, again, not with weapons, not with fear, but with one final message, written into the stars: "We are still here, and we are not finished." The end.